Yes, I believe online students can hear me, right? Surely. So let's get started with the economics current affairs of this week. 5 topics is what we will look at. So, just a minute. So in this 5 topics, 2 are schemes, 2 are reports, and 1 is about the 8th pay commission. Okay? So first is the integrated Sohra tourism circuit. What is Sohra? See, sometimes these questions are also asked, right? Sohra is a place in India. You might have heard about the highest amount of rainfall, Mausin Ram, and also very close, also having a huge amount of rainfall, Chirapunji, right? So Sohra is nothing but Chirapunji, right? We'll see about its name also. So they are starting an integrated Sohra tourism circuit. That means in the region of Chirapunji, an integrated tourism circuit is going to start. Okay? So that particular circuit scheme is under the PM Divine scheme. So this Divine scheme is development in the northeastern region. Right, this Sohra is in northeastern region. So under the ambit of PM Divine, the Sohra tourism circuit is being brought out. Second is the foreign liability and asset census of 2024-25. So this census of asset and liability has been done, in which a lot of this news is really very important with respect to your answer writing, your facts, your data, your numbers. A lot of numbers you will get over here. What is the total foreign direct investment? What is the concept of outward direct investment? The investment that goes away from India to other countries. So how much is FDI? So FDI that is coming into India is around 60 plus lakh crore rupees, whereas the outward flow is around 11 lakh something. We'll see that. But the thing is that the growth in FDI is at a slower pace than the growth in outward investment. Outward investment means that is investment going out of India. Okay? Then next is the report that has been brought out by UNAIDS. Now this report tells us something which you would already on your own only estimate. We don't even have to read this report to understand that this will be the case, but we will read it because in our answers we can mention the facts by claiming that it was given by the United Nations AIDS report. So what this report talks about, that inequality fuels pandemics and prolongs the crisis. That means if there is high inequality in a particular region, it is going to further fuel the pandemic. So let's say a pandemic comes to 2 regions, one is here and the other one is here. Now if this region is highly unequal, high amount of inequality and poverty exists. So even if the degree of pandemic was 10% at the beginning, it is going to rapidly expand in the unequal society. Whereas a more equal and more fluent society will be more capable of dealing with it, and the pandemic will not spread that fast. The mortality rate of the pandemic will not be that high in a socio-economically uplifted society, whereas it will be very high in the society that is unequal and poor. Okay. The same thing the report talks about. It gives us certain figures and numbers. We'll see that. The next is the 8th Central Pay Commission. So at approximately every 10 years you will have the Central Pay Commission coming in. Now it comes in to basically revise the salary, revise the pension, revise the incentive, revise the terms and conditions of the government jobs. Central Pay Commission is for the central government employees. So almost every 10 years the government brings it in order to revise the salaries and incentives. So we will see what are the terms and conditions. There is a couple of addition to their usual terms and conditions. We will see what they are. Then you have, yes, so that addition of terms and condition is basically with respect to the old pension scheme and new pension scheme. So we will see what is the difference between the two and why there is a debate with respect to old and new pension scheme. And then last is again a scheme, National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. Okay? So these are the 5 topics that we will discuss. The first topic is integrated Sohra tourism circuit. Yes, you came in just now. What is Sohra? Yes, Sohra. You also don't know. Achha. So I was telling them before you guys entered, so I wanted to revisit that. Basically, Cherrapunji is a place wherein there will be huge amount of rainfall. The highest rainfall is in Mawsynram, but Cherrapunji also receives a huge amount of rainfall. Sohra is nothing but the official name of Cherrapunji, right? So this name Cherrapunji was given to this region by the Britishers, right? But after the independence, legally we have its name. As per the state record, the name is known as Sohra. Okay, this is clear. So the government is bringing in integrated Sohra tourism circuit, right? Integrated Sohra tourism circuit means there will be this Sohra region. They are taking 3 important points in this Sohra region, and they are going to connect this Sohra region and going to give you a tourism offers will be run, which will benefit the tourism industry. Is that clear? Like we have the religious circuit, the Buddhist circuit, right? The Prasad scheme is there, right? In which different circuits are made. What happens is, see, if you want to, let's say, go to travel, so within India only, so one important thing is the itinerary. For how long will you go? For how much time will you stay basically? Where all will you visit? So what the Prasad scheme, Hriday scheme and other schemes are doing is, they are creating an itinerary for you. For example, you are a follower of Buddhist religion or you want to see Buddhist scripture, so you can go on a tour on the Buddhist circuit, wherein the Buddhist circuit tour will take you to all the important places with respect to Buddhist religion, right? That is the concept of circuit tourism. So here in the district of Sohra, they will come up with an integrated Sohra district circuit. Okay. Now this particular scheme is of course by the Ministry of Donor. What is donor? Development of Northeastern region. So it is going to be undertaken by Development of Northeastern region, and this circuit is in Cherrapunji, that is in Meghalaya. The initial corpus is 233 crore. You don't have to as such remember this. What you have to remember is, it is going to transform Sohra, of course, into a sustainable multi-day tourism hub. Multi-day tourism hub. That means since there will be 3 places that will be interconnected in one day, of course it will not be possible. So it is going to promote multi-day tourism. So anyone who wants to visit Cherrapunji is going to visit it for multiple days. That is the idea behind it. So this is what is meant by multi-day tourism hub. Okay. So there is a bit more detail about the scheme. So ecotourism development will take place at Noakhali Falls, Mausamai Eco Park and Vakaliyar Canyon. What is a canyon? Geography is done, right? It is ongoing. Acha. What is a canyon? Very good, very good. See, basically you have, big mountainous rock kind of a structure, right? So this is like a structure like this. Now, but what happens is it gets eroded. Because of erosion, what you will have is, you will have the mountainous region over here, you will have a mountainous region over here, and in between will be a water boundary. So it is like the Great Canyon. Okay? The mountainous region on this side, mountainous region on this side, and in between the water and the weathering processes eroded that particular structure. Since that particular structure is eroded, so the water body goes behind it, and on this side, this is like a canyon. You have a Grand Canyon in, I think, USA. Okay? What are the expected outcomes? So expected outcome is spending on tourism is probably going to increase 6-fold. Increase is going to be 6-fold. It may create approximately 4,600 jobs in this region. Now, majority of the jobs are possibly going to be in the unorganized sector. Yes, in the inorganized sector. So when tourism develops, you will have a lot of unorganized sector jobs. So you will have guides, right? You will have various shops. If that region is having a high rainfall, you will have people who are giving you on rent the raincoat, the gum boots, this, that, everything. Of course, there will be hotels, stays, all those things will be also there. There will be vehicles as well. Okay? So what happens is, if this is a circuit from one place to another, generally what they also do is, there will be a union over here, the union over here, and a union over here. So if you hire a car from this place, it will go only up to this. Then you have to hire another car. And then here, if you want to go somewhere else, you will have to hire another car. Okay? So this is what the things, because of this, what I'm trying to say is more number of jobs will be created. It's not a rule as per government. It is the rule which gets, unsaid rule which gets created in that particular region, right? Anyway, so it is going to create a lot of jobs. Now another important thing is, it is going to be under the ambit of Pradhan Mantri Divine Scheme, that is Development Initiative for Northeastern Region. Pradhan Mantri Divine Scheme, Development Initiative for Northeastern Region. Now this Divine Scheme is a central sector scheme. Central sector scheme means 100% of the funding will come from the central government. And in any case, even if there is a centrally sponsored scheme, the centrally sponsored scheme for the rest of the states may have 50-50 allocation, but for generally Northeastern region, it is anyhow 90:10. It is anyhow 90:10. So it's not much of a difference, but still you have to remember from the exam point of view that it's a central sector scheme, and of course the nodal ministry is the donor ministry. Objective are usual without looking at the presentation. Also you can say objective is to increase the livelihood for the infrastructure development, to increase the tourism and sustainable tourism. All these are objectives. So if in prelims any objective comes which is very generic in nature, the generic nature objectives are generally correct, right? So if you look at here, what is this? Support infrastructure, support social development projects, livelihood generation for youth and women, bridge regional development, this is important, bridge regional development gaps in line with PM Gati Shakti vision. What is this? What is PM Gati Shakti? Women, PM Gati Shakti. No, Gati Shakti is completely different. See, again, Gati, that's what the Hindi bias has come. Gati means speed. Shakti means power. So you are giving power to the speed. Speed is related with what? Connectivity. So you will have huge infrastructure connectivity projects, dedicated freight corridors, the railways, the roadways, all these heavy civil infrastructure, especially in the transportation, that means the connectivity sector, the major infrastructure projects. And all these projects are linked with the PM Gati Shakti platform is also there. Gati Shakti platform. So what does this Gati Shakti platform do? This Gati Shakti platform has all these projects listed on the platform. So through that platform, a dynamic live status and tracking of those projects are done in order to ensure that they meet their timeline as well. So this is the Gati Shakti platform trying to connect India completely through different transportation projects that are there, and that all those projects are present on the Gati Shakti platform, which helps the government to track the projects, right? Because different projects are happening in different states. So the state machinery are also used at certain point of time. So to basically manage and track the project, you have the Gati Shakti portal as well. So this is also going to be under the PM Gati Shakti portal. Okay, that means when this project is starting, so the details about that project, how much money has been given, how much money has been spent, what development has taken place, all that thing will be mentioned. Okay. So this was the very first news. Let's look at the second one. Foreign liabilities and asset census of 2024-25. Yes, what are liabilities? Yes, what are you writing? What are liabilities? Achha. So is a loan liability or an asset?
Loan is a liability.
Okay, but for a bank? For a bank it is an asset. Very good. So we know that concept of liability as an asset. So it's the Reserve Bank of India. Remember, for prelims, Reserve Bank of India has released the foreign liability and asset census. So now in this census, the major thing that it has highlighted is the evolving FDI and ODI landscape. This is the most important thing. Okay, let me explain. So we have our foreign direct investment. This foreign direct investment has a rate of growth. It has a rate of growth. At the same time, we have our ODI. This is outward direct investment. So FDI comes into India. ODI, that is outward direct investment, goes out of India. Okay? Now the issue is the growth rate of FDI is less than the growth rate of ODI is what they have observed. Okay? So the numbers are quite high. This is beyond 60. This is approximately, I think, 11. We'll look at the exact number. So 11 lakh crore, 60 lakh crore. So this is way beyond. But the thing is, the rate of growth of FDI is less. The rate of growth of ODI is more. So what does that mean? This means that the landscape after a decade or two might be completely different. So that is why we have to analyze this thing right now. We cannot wake up 10 years later and realize that our FDI is less and our ODI is more. What should I do? So we have to understand the trend. So if you look at the trend, ODI is growing at a faster pace. If it grows at a faster pace for a couple of decades, we might see a shift in the amount of FDI we are receiving and the ODI we are investing. Okay. Now, so this is one side. So generally, we would want FDI to be more so that more investments come, and less ODI so that less money flows out. But if you look at the developed countries, ultimately once India becomes developed, it will actually anyhow reverse. So it is not completely a bad thing. It is not completely a bad thing, because on one side it also showcases that we are now capable enough to invest directly in other countries. So that is a positive. Since we are developing, since our businesses are developing, since we are having so many unicorns, so many millionaires, so many billionaires, as a result of which it is but obvious that India also will start spending or investing in other countries. So it is not completely bad as such. In fact, in future we would want India to have higher ODI and less FDI. That means we are rich enough to be investing more in the other countries than receiving from them. Okay? But right now, as of now, during that transition period, we might feel a bit of stress when that actually happens. Okay? So these are the key findings. The total top investment partners. So you have USA with around 20% of investment in India. Singapore is around 14.3%. They together, USA plus Singapore together constitute approximately 1/3 of the total investment. So together they account for about 1/3 of the total FDI in India. The other major sources are Mauritius, UK and Netherlands. Now interestingly, when we talk about ODI, that means that the direct investment that is going outside India, for that also these are the major countries. Number one is again USA, number two is again Singapore, and in other major countries, Mauritius is not there I think, but UK and Netherlands is there as well. That means what? That means the countries from where high FDI is coming is also the country wherein India is investing more. It is exactly the same. Okay? So this is the number. Our FDI, these are certain facts. FDI up from 61.88, it has increased to 68.75. So this is the latest number. So 68.7 lakh crore rupees. This growth is approximately 11% year on year. So if you compare to the previous year, the growth is 11%. Right. The highest amount of FDI is coming in the manufacturing sector, close to half. Clear? Also an important point is more than 90% of FDI is in the non-financial sector. Is in the non-financial sector. What does this mean? This means that the other countries are not simply investing in Indian banks in order to further give out as loans. No, they are rather investing directly in the industries like the manufacturing sector. Financial FDI means what? Like the investment bankers investing in other banks. I am giving investment in, let's say, US banks to give out loans. That happened in 2008, for example. Before 2008, what was happening? The US economy was booming about the mortgage loans. US was giving huge amount of mortgage loans at that time and they were getting good returns. So every country wanted to invest in USA's banking system for the mortgage loans. So at that time, if you look at, financial FDI will be very high. Means FDI is foreign direct investment in the financial sector. That means bank and other financial institutions. Right? So if you look at India, more than 90% of FDI is in non-financial sectors. That means in our banking system, we have less than 10% of foreign direct investment that is coming. Okay? And it's dominated by the manufacturing sector. Next, the ownership pattern of FDI. So if you look at the ownership pattern of FDI, over 75% of FDI are coming from foreign subsidiaries. That means they already have establishment, a plant, an industry of a particular brand in their own home country. At the same time, they want to expand their business in India. They want to capture the Indian market now. This is clear what this concept is? See, for example, there can be a high net worth individual who is living in USA, has, let's say, generational wealth, right? And that person invests in India. So that person is not investing as a foreign subsidiary. That person will open a new industry over here, a new store over here, a new factory over here. But for India, that kind of investment is less than 25%. Majority of our investment is coming from foreign subsidiaries. Foreign subsidiaries means you have Apple. Apple is already established in USA. Now Apple is opening their own factories in India. So that is happening how? Through foreign direct investment. Is that clear? And happening by a foreign subsidiary. So a foreign subsidiary is opening its sister branch, its sibling branch in India. Okay? Clear?
So even like McD would have been like foreign direct investment in India.
Subsidiary. Yes, like a subsidiary because already established.
It would be subsidiary.
Yes, exactly. It will be subsidiary because they are opening their own branches in India. That is an already established investment or already established business in the other part of the world. Okay? So they are simply opening a subsidiary. For example, if Legacy IAS Academy opens its branch in USA, what is it? It's a subsidiary of Legacy IAS Academy. But I don't have any institute, I have nothing. So if I open something, it's not opening as a subsidiary. It's a completely new venture. Okay? Clear? One thing remember, being a subsidiary and non-being a subsidiary is not related with greenfield or brownfield. That is a different concept. You can get confused. Brownfield project is when a project starts from complete scratch. That's a greenfield project, which starts from complete scratch. Brownfield project is a project is already present. You are extending, you are expanding, you are modifying, rehabilitating. Correct? So a subsidiary which is a person who is, let's say, not a subsidiary. I am a very rich, wealthy person. I want to do foreign direct investment. So I can do it in greenfield project also. Not a problem. I can also do it in a brownfield project. So just because I don't have a subsidiary in India does not mean the project will always be greenfield. It can be brownfield as well. Everyone have understood this? Did you understand this? Okay? You understood? You did not understand? Let me take it slowly. See, the concept of subsidiary. The concept of subsidiary. For example, we took the example of Apple. Apple is already established in USA. So Apple from USA, let's say it invests and opens a manufacturing factory in India, right? So this is an example of a foreign subsidiary opening a branch in India. At the same time, this is opened as a greenfield project. Greenfield project because Apple's factory did not exist in India, correct? So it was opened as a greenfield project. ये समझ में?
If it opens one more outlet, then it will.
नहीं, not one more outlet, not one more outlet. No, not one more outlet. If it is opening another one more outlet wherein nothing existed, that is also greenfield. That is also greenfield. So brownfield is when it's not that if I am opening 10 institutes, the first one is greenfield, rest are brownfield. No. If I have opened this first store, let's say I have opened the first first factory, let's say in Jayanagar, for example. So this was opened as a greenfield project, correct? If I want to expand this factory, that will be brownfield. correct? If I want to open another factory, let's say in BTM stage 2, again it's greenfield because nothing existed here. So again it's greenfield. When nothing exists and you open, it's greenfield. If you expand that, it is brownfield. Okay? So a subsidiary can open their factory or firm as a greenfield project because it was not existing. Nothing was existing. They can also open as a brownfield project. How can they open as a brownfield project? For example, let's say you have Boeing as a company. Boeing company, again a USA company, wants to invest, right? So Boeing company basically manufactures aeroplane, right? Now they want to manufacture aeroplane in India, the same Boeing company. So it is a subsidiary, a foreign subsidiary, which is opening its a subsidiary branch in India, right? But let's say we have our own domestic manufacturing unit which is defunct or not functioning. So what they do is they want to revive it. So in collaboration with an Indian, they also start manufacturing the aeroplanes in collaboration with an Indian firm. So what is this? Since this unit was already existing and you are now wanting to make it bigger because Boeing is also involved, it is a subsidiary, but at the same time brownfield investment. It is brownfield FDI. Why brownfield FDI? Because that unit already existed, right? You are reviving it, you are expanding it, you are modifying it, you are adding more technology to it. Okay? So an investment can be subsidiary as well as brownfield at the same time, and it can be subsidiary as well as greenfield also at the same time. Okay? Clear? Huh.
For example, Russia is now planning to create fighter jets in India.
Huh.
Would that be classified as a brownfield?
No, if they are, see, just doing it together is not important. Something should exist beforehand. Is that clear? So for example, let's say Legacy IAS Academy can join hands with another academy and open an institute in Nagpur. But none of their institute existed there. In fact, none of anyone's institute existed there. They have constructed from scratch. So it's greenfield, right? But if you are joining hands together, let's say Legacy IAS Academy joins hands with another institute to open in Nagpur, and they are overtaking a third institute's place, infrastructure, YouTube channels and stuff like that, and expanding over it, that is brownfield. So for a project to be called as brownfield, something should exist before. If nothing existed, it is greenfield no matter how many partners are involved. Is that clear? Okay. Outward direct investment, I have told you, when an Indian firm expands operation abroad, so they are going to invest in there. Now ODI for India is 11.66 lakh, the growth rate of which is 17.9% year on year. So close to 18%, and here it is just 11%. So this growth rate is faster than the growth rate of FDI. If you look at the countries, the top destination, so this change one is there, top destination is Singapore, then USA, and then the remaining two are also the same. So similar countries are involved from where the money is coming in and to where the money is going out. Okay? They have given this ratio, inward to outward direct investment ratio, means FDI divided by ODI. Okay? So presently FDI is how much? 68 point something divided by ODI, which is how much? 11.66. So 11.66. So this ratio now comes out to be 5.9, which earlier was 6.3. That means previously foreign direct investment was way higher than how high it is now as compared to ODI. Okay? The implication for India as per the report does suggest that FDI is robust in India. There is a continuous supply of FDI in India, so the market has trust in India. So all those positive aspects are basically there. If someone wants to understand what is the difference between FDI and FII, or what is considered as an FDI, what is considered as foreign direct investment? Okay, it's an FDI. No other criteria. there are two concepts. One is foreign direct investment, other is foreign portfolio investment. Right? Can you tell? Yes. चलो ठीक है. Okay. Yes.
More than 10%.
Hmm.
More than 10%.
Very good. So whenever you are investing more than 10% in a listed company, it's a direct investment. So more than 10% also you are buying their shares, but more than 10% is what you are buying. So if you are buying more than 10%, it is direct, else it is indirect. Now indirect is also similar to the foreign portfolio investment. So portfolio means when you are doing indirect investment, you have to use a channel to invest, right? Directly you will not be allowed to invest because indirect investments can be very less also. Foreign direct investment will be big only because the company is listed and more than 10% you have to invest. So that's a good amount. Whereas here you can invest in a very low amount also, right? You want to buy only 10 shares, then very less amount. So here you have to go through a channel. That channel will be institutional investors, foreign institutional investors. So SEBI, that is Securities Exchange Board of India, is going to approve certain foreign institutional investors to invest in India. So the foreigners will invest in that foreign institutional investors, and that foreign institutional investor will invest our money in Indian market. Okay? Sure. Next, inequality fuels pandemic is what they're saying. What is this report? This is the title of the report basically. Breaking the inequality pandemic cycle, building true health security in a global age. So what they are trying to say is inequality and pandemic basically reinforce each other. If there is a pandemic, it will lead to more poverty. People will go into poverty because of the pandemic. They will spend everything that they have in their food, in their hospitalization, etc. In pandemic, the jobs will also be lost. Take for example the COVID pandemic. So that pandemic will lead to more and more poverty. People who are rich are better capable of dealing with the pandemic. Poor people are not capable. So people on the edge of poverty line, people slightly above that poverty line, a lot of people will fall back into poverty, which is going to lead to higher and higher inequality in the society. So pandemic will lead to high inequality. Now if high inequality is there, that means in a society there are huge number of poor people and only few people who are filthy rich. So such a society will be impacted more because of pandemic. Why? Because huge number of people have very less resources, as a result of which they will not be able or capable to deal with the pandemic situation. So what is happening? Pandemic is leading to more inequality is leading to more drastic impact of the pandemic. It's not that they will cause pandemic, but if the society is unequal and the pandemic happens, there will be a huge impact on such a society as compared to other society. Is that clear? Okay. So this is what this entire report talks about. Now, the scope of the report. So this report uses research data of 2 years, and this 2 years they are talking about 2020 and 2021 when there was COVID, which was a pandemic. So they have studied those 2 years. They have released the report now, but they have studied those years. Now interestingly, if you look at the data, they have covered, saying they have covered 218 countries. How many countries are there in the world? Huh? So what is this data then? Yes. So basically, there are 193 United Nations members plus 2 nations which have observer status. Okay? So this is the recognized countries. 193 United Nations members, 2 members I think have observer status, close to 193, 193 plus 2, 195. This is coming to be 217 because the logic is the same as the logic of, if I ask you which country has the highest number of time zones? France. So now his perspective is also correct. He is saying France has the highest expansion. So basically Russia has the highest expansion, so logically should have highest time zones, right? But France, because of their colonial rule, colonial origin, they have various territories which are distributed around the world. So France, which is in Europe, also have territories which is in the Asia and the Pacific. So their expanse is very high. So that is why France has around how many, 17 or 13? 13 time zones. Russia is a single unit like this, very big, has 11 time zones, but France, which is somewhere here, but has different territories all around the world. So you have to pay attention in what context they are asking. So in that context, France will have the highest time zone. So the same logic is used over here. They have taken places like Diego Garcia and various other places which are still the colonial impact is there because of the colonial rule. They are still governed indirectly by certain countries like France, like Spain, like Britain. So they have counted those regions also as country. That is why they have come up with this 217 number. As far as COVID is concerned, they have considered 151 countries for COVID. Now this is what they have talked about. Higher inequality will lead to higher infection and higher mortality rate. So higher inequality will lead to higher infection and higher mortality rate. Now interestingly, this is the mortality rate, higher inequality and higher mortality rate. This is very true in case of India also. So if you take the case of Bihar, for example, and if you take the case of Kerala, for example, in Kerala, the number of people that got affected due to COVID is very high, but the mortality rate is the lowest in the country. It is the lowest in the country, right? Inequality is less, right? You can relate it with whatever you want, literacy, less inequality, high literacy, more education, whatever it is, more development. So Kerala has it has the lowest mortality rate of COVID among all the states of India. Whereas Bihar, which has very high amount of poverty, that means it has very high amount of inequality, and it has one of the highest mortality rate due to COVID. So this is present in Indian scenario as well. In fact, it can also be argued, as I said, very high COVID infection, because the reporting will also be better in this state as compared to here. Is that clear? So here anyhow the reporting will be lesser, right? Because institutionalization is not much. Here it is there, so reporting will be less. But out of that less reporting also, the percentage of people that are dying is humongous. So that is what this report is trying to say. Now next is, more equal society will have stronger resilience to pandemic. Right, see, we were not supposed to be told this, we already know this, that this will be there, but now this report is saying that, so you can quote this report instead of saying it on your own in your answers. So more equal society will lead to more resilience and faster recovery. Okay? So this is what they have. They have also studied different countries for different reasons. This is for Brazil. In Brazil, what they did is, the rate per 10,000. So the number of people that are dying per 10,000 due to pandemic. Is that clear? So this indigo or bluish color, this is the section that is illiterate. So people who are illiterate are having the highest amount of fatalities, right? Then you have education up to elementary, middle school, up to secondary school, college education. So you see that there would be a decline. There would be a general decline is seen in every region of Brazil. This is center, west, north, northeast, south, southeast. So they have sampled the sets of different regions of Brazil and have realized that it is also linked to literacy rates. So when literacy rates are high, people will have more knowledge, more awareness. Generally speaking, they might have more opportunities of job, employment, so per capita income would also be high, and this shows that their fatality rates are also quite low. Okay? Is that clear? So there is a trend which is there. Plus these are different continents outcome. Africa, informal settlements are very high. Higher prevalence of HIV is found in Africa. Namibia, it's a poor country, less educated women, again higher HIV rates. Now remember, in both the cases HIV rates are high, but they are giving different reasons for it, right? So more impact is there because of the uneducated nature of the females over here. That means what? That means the disparity between male and female education is high over here, and that is what is leading to high HIV rates over here. The disparity between male and female education is not much over here, but there are informal settlements. Informal settlements are what? Slums. It's like slum-like area, slums. So in slum-like area, you have high fertility rates also, right? So you have high prevalence of HIV in that region. Next is England. Overcrowded housing. Overcrowded housing leading to higher COVID-19 mortality. Now this, they have tried to explain that the housing in England as compared to the other European countries is crowded in some parts, right? For example, if you look at Manchester, so Manchester is one of the industrialized areas of England. That means, of course, rich people, capitalists will stay, but at the same time the laborers will also stay in their labor colonies, right? So over there the legal housing is there, but those regions are overcrowded because of industrialization, which first started in England. So because of this industrialization nature, the overcrowding of the housing has led to higher mortality due to COVID in England. Now higher mortality means not the highest in the world, higher mortality as compared to the other European countries. Okay? Let's go. Chalo, theek hai, this is done. Next is Brazil. Uneducated people, multiple times higher COVID fatality, which we have already seen. So fatality per 10,000 is what? Close to 70, 60. So if you look at region also, this region would probably be more literate, more developed. Okay? This is what it says, scope of the report. One more thing is 84% higher COVID infection was found among the migrants. See, because when migrants are there, a lot of migration is also due to push migration. So they did not have a job there, they would be working on a very minuscule payment over here, and it is the migrants who would be leading to a huge amount of slum formation. So majorly that kind of migration is going to have a higher COVID percentage of infection. The sample set, the meta-analysis that they did was of 5.3 crore people. So it's a good number of sample sets that they have taken. Okay? This diagram is important. This is the most important thing. Inequality is there within a country across multiple dimensions, all that is fine. So this inequality will give you less resistance to challenge the pandemic which is there. And because when pandemic comes, so what will happen? It will impact the unequal societies more, leading to more inequality. Okay? Major causes of inequality, we have already seen the major causes of inequality. The poverty, basically the poverty, when poverty is there, institutional medicines or hospitalizations are not available, people are poor, people are unaware, they do not have, do you think that when COVID was coming, so when COVID was actually coming, we were in our offices, everyone started bringing sanitizers, wearing masks, and this I am talking about, I think 14th or 15th March, right, wherein the fatality was not that much. It was just that in Kerala the cases have come, and then the news was there that in Mumbai also the cases have been identified at the airport with respect to the people who are traveling from Kerala or maybe from some other country. So just few cases, but it can spread. So people started wearing masks. In the offices people are wearing masks, using sanitizers. Now that is not going to happen in a slum. That is not going to happen in a slum. Awareness is not there, right? Seriousness, awareness or ability, to buy the mask. Masks were being sold at 200, 300 rupees also, right? So availability, the affordability or the awareness, all these things have led to higher fatalities. So what do you recommend? Of course, we recommend to make the society more equal, to have more equitable distribution. One important thing that the report mentions is automatic IP waiver. IP is intellectual property. So automatic intellectual property right waiver. That means if a disease is spreading as a pandemic and you have an intellectual patent of a medicine who can remove that disease, so automatically the waiver should be removed. We should not waste a single second in removing the patent. So that is what this is a good point which you can mention. Integrate health, housing, employment and everything. Integration of housing, integration of healthcare system. Now what is this integrate health, housing? When you are planning a city, first of all the city should be planned. When the city is planned, only then you can integrate the housing and the healthcare structure. How you can integrate? When you are planning the city, you are knowing wherein I will have my places of housing or residence. So where my hospitals should come. That way you can plan. If there is an unplanned growth of a slum area which will lead to higher population density, but the medical resources will not be available over there. So you have to plan properly. Okay? So this was your report. Now the last two are remaining. This is 8th Central Pay Commission. Now in this 8th Central Pay Commission, its term of reference have been approved by the government. So now basically it will start doing the work of revising the payment structure, the incentive structure of the central government employees. Right. For your prelims, remember this 8th Pay Commission consists of 3 persons. Don't have to remember the name as such. 1 chairperson and 2 members. One is a part-time member, the other is a member secretary. Now these people, these are specialists. This one is a specialist, professor from IIM Bangalore, and currently Sri Pankaj Jain. He is a member secretary. He is currently the secretary of petroleum and natural gas. So whom do you have? You have a former judge, you have a specialist who is a part-time member, and you have a bureaucrat who is present. So these are the 3 members who are present in the 8th Pay Commission. Okay? Background, we know there have been various pay commissions. The very first pay commission in 1947. Then the very recent one was in 2014. It's generally the implementation of the recommendation of the pay commission happens within first 18 months. Within 18 months they recommend. So there will be a delay. So delay as in not delay. When the 8th Finance Commission is established, from that establishment to the implementation of the recommendation, on an average it takes 18 months in India. Okay? So 2014 it got established. Its recommendations were implemented in 2016. Now in 2024 it was established, but its terms of reference have been approved now. Terms of reference means what work will you do, what things will you look at, that the government has approved now, and it is likely to be giving its report in 2026, early 2026, and its recommendation is likely to be implemented either at the end of 2026 or maybe in April 2027. Okay, that is too factual, they may not ask this. Now the mandate. What is the mandate of the 8th Pay Commission? Reviewing and recommending changes for payment, allowances, pensions of the central government employees. So payment, that is their major salary. Allowances like dearness allowance, other incentives, how much it should be, and the pension of the central government employees. In addition to that, it also recommends the service conditions of central public sector employees. That means working condition means up to what age. If they want to change the age of retirement, Payment Commission can recommend that. The age of retirement. There are different ages. In certain ages, you can also take voluntary retirement. Right? After a certain age, you will be compulsorily retired. But some people can get extension also. So these are all the terms of reference with respect to the employment. So that is what? Service conditions. These are the service conditions which it will also recommend. And the fiscal sustainability. That means when it gives recommendation of increment, that should be fiscally sustainable. It should not be that much that it causes a burden on the government. Is that clear? Now very funnily, when the 8th pay commission comes, the discussion regarding the fiscal deficit, the fiscal stress, all these things start. But there is no discussion on these lines when we talk about the pensions that the member of parliaments take, wherein the number of times that they get selected to that seat, that many number of times is what the pension they get. Is that clear? So for example, if any government employee has a pension, they had one job, they invested their 38 years in that job, they get only one pension. But if you are elected as a member of parliament once, you get one pension. Next year you are re-elected, that's a second pension. Then that's a third pension. So people who are having 50 years of political career, have been elected 10, 12 times, will have how many pensions? 10, 12 pensions they will have. But that does not impact the exchequer somehow, right? Anyway, so let's get back to this. This is important, new edition of the terms of reference. So what is the new edition of terms of reference? New edition is to examine old pension system and the new pension system. Old pension system and new pension system. So what is this story all about? So old pension system, in old pension system what used to happen is, your pension is going to be provided by the government, which will be a fixed amount, right? So let's say you are getting a pension, a part of the pension is given to you lump sum at the time of retirement, and the rest of it keeps on coming you, on a monthly basis. So basically the idea is you will have a defined salary, a defined pension. Previously the defined pension used to be half of the last drawn salary. Now at times here you have state governments, and also you have 1/3 of the last drawn salary. But again it is fixed. It is fixed. That is the old pension system. In new pension system what is happening is, the government has started utilizing our pension money and started investing the pension money in the market. Is that clear? After investing the pension money in the market, there will be some earning that the government will have. So in the new pension system what happens is, depending upon the market forces, your pension amount will change. Depending upon the market forces, the pension amount. So they are thinking about this idea that depending upon the market forces, let us change the amount of pension that we get. The good thing about this is, your pension can increase. Your pension can increase if the government earns more return. So whatever your pension was supposed to be total 20 lakh, 10 lakh you have been given, the remaining 10 lakh will keep on coming to you on a monthly basis. But that 20 lakh the government has invested. Now the government has got a profit of 20-30%. So now your pension becomes 26 lakhs. Is that correct? So that is the benefit side of it. The negative side of it is, the pension which is supposed to be there for the old age is now going to be dependent on the market forces. So there is a possibility it can reduce also. There is a possibility that it can be lost also in the market. So should we trade the stability, security and certainty of the fixed pension with the flexibility and increased amount because of the market forces, is the question which is put in front of the Central Pay Commission. Clear? So Central Pay Commission will take a call on that. Central Pay Commission will decide what the future of old pension and new pension scheme will be, right? What will benefit the consumers in the long run? What will be more burden on the government in the long run? So based on that, a decision might be taken as to which process or which perspective we choose when we move ahead. Okay? Is that clear? So yes. Of the? That's what. That is a really good idea. So what you do is do a plebiscite. The concept of plebiscite is not there. And what happens in Indian democracy is, once the government sits at the throne, basically they think we are the will of the people, right? Whereas they are not the will of the people, they are the will of the majority. And that majority is also what? 39% of the country. Not just 39% of the country, 39% of the people who have actually voted. So if the voting percentage is 70% and they are 40% of those 70% of vote, so it is very less. It's even less. Is that clear? So you understood the maths? 70% of people, so out of 100 people, 70 people have voted. Right? So in that 70 people, 40% is going to the government who's in power. So 40% of these 70 people is what? 28, right? So the number of people who are actually wanting this government is actually in minority, right? But the concept is no, we are the will of the people. So if we have representative democracy, we have our representative who are taking calls for us. Okay? But yes, that would be a good way for such things wherein the population is not much high. You just have central government employees, so you can basically take a plebiscite. But the thing is that plebiscite, it is obvious that because India's conservative nature and for us being conservative, we will of course choose the old pension system, which is fixed. But the government also wants to see what will benefit them the most. Okay? So a new addition we have talked about. So there is basically a debate which is going on with respect to OPS and NPS. Okay? Now this is the background, the previous pay commission. So based on the 7th pay commission, the average hike was about 23.5%. Now it looks very high, but it is not. Why? Every 10 years the commission is coming. So every 10 years, 23.5% increase is not that much. Okay? But still, this hike had increased the expenditure because the hike is around 23-24%. So of course the expenditure of the government on the central government employee is going to increase by approximately that much amount. Okay? Why not exactly this much amount? Because a lot of people are going to retire, so instead of the salary they are going to earn the pension, and a lot of people will be entering the fold, so they will have a lower salary at the beginning of their career. So there will be some deviation, but it is very close to this number. Okay? So 20% of increase in the expenditure was there. Okay? Any doubts in this? This was the most analytical topic. Any doubts in this? Nothing? Last one is a straightforward thing, National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. Like we have the National Livestock Mission. In the same manner, a very holistic scheme is the National Beekeeping Scheme. Just a minute. This, yes. So like our National Livestock Mission has 4 submissions, it has 3 submissions, mini mission 1, 2 and 3. So first is production and productivity improvement. Same as National Livestock Mission. You remember National Livestock Mission we did in agriculture chapter. National Livestock Mission. What is the first submission? First submission talks about this only, production and productivity improvement. Second submission, post-harvest management and processing and value addition. Third submission, research, technological development and capacity building. So technological development is there in livestock mission also. The same component. What I am trying to tell you is, whenever such missions come, be it, if you don't know, for example, you have not read about it, but there is some mission they are talking about, the mission of silkworms, national mission of silkworms, and you have to guess, you are left with 2 options, and they are saying it will talk about the production and productivity improvement. Yes, it will talk about that. It will talk about research, technological development and capacity building. Yes, it will talk about that. Right? So this is a manner in which you should study. Remember that this is a very comprehensive mission. It consists of every aspect of beekeeping. And then try to remember the specific things. So these are the 3 specific areas. Now, one fact here is India is the 2nd largest exporter of honey, right? However, you will many a time see differing views. So this news article came in the Indian Express, and it is also mentioned in the PIB, but this fact that India is the 2nd largest honey exporter is mentioned in the newspaper Indian Express. But if you do a bit more research, you will realize some people say it's not India. India is not 2nd, India is 3rd or India is 4th. So many data will differ. Why it will differ is the time period that they are calculating. So with respect to India, we will calculate a fiscal year from 1st of April to 31st of March. In France and all, they will calculate complete annual year, 1st January to 31st December. Some people are calculating based on the volume. Some people are calculating based on the value. So if you go to search, you will find various different results, right? But in the Indian major newspapers, they have talked about India being 2nd in 2024 fiscal year, 2024-2025. Okay? So this thing can change. Okay? Let's move ahead. Yes. So what is this mission? Promote holistic growth of beekeeping, strengthen marketing, strengthen the branding of the product, make it export oriented. Okay? All those things are, and this is under the national bee board. Now this is the case. India is second largest. If you look at the highest producers of honey, Uttar Pradesh leads, after which there is West Bengal. So these are the map. Uttar Pradesh is leading, after which there is West Bengal. Then you have Punjab, Bihar and Rajasthan. Major export destination for India is USA, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Libya. This particular scheme is under the National Bee Board. Right, National Bee Board registered as a society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. Okay? It is the nodal agency for National Beekeeping Mission. Clear? Any doubts? Nothing? Very important factually, please, you should know the facts that are there. I think that's it. Challenges. Challenges are important. First thing is the adulteration. So how is honey adulterated? Using sugar syrup. You can use sugar syrup in your, so adulteration and quality assurance. So many people many times use sugar syrup in the honey. So in honey, you add that honey will be there. Let's say 1 kg honey, there will be 200 grams of honey. Right? There will be more of yellow color that will be inserted, and the remaining 800 grams will be thick sugary paste. You know, chashni, we call it in Hindi chashni. So when you make gulab jamuns, you know, gulab jamuns, black color gulab jamuns, so they are put in what? Sugar syrup. If you heat that sugar syrup even more, it will become more thick and thick and thick, and it will be as thick and sticky as the honey. And that sugar syrup will be cheap, because sugar syrup has what? Water, which is as good as free. And then you have sugar, which is 50 rupees kg, and this honey is 600, 700 rupees kg. So that is what adulteration is done. Okay? So adulteration is a very big issue with respect to honey industry. They tell that there is a method to check whether honey is real or not. Density in water. Okay, what else? A very simple funda. If you pour the honey on your cotton cloth, right, and you wipe it off, it will come off completely. It will not stick. It will not stick. It will come off completely. If it has sugary paste inside, it will stick. It will not come out properly. Of course, some amount of it will be there, but it will come out properly, not stick. Whereas the sugar paste will stick a lot. So that is one of the tests you can do. Of course, the density and all is there. You have to check. So that will be in labs and all you can do, unless and until you have a density meter. Pour it in water also you can say. Yes, that is also there. You can test it like that. Correct. Okay? Yes. So this is the most important thing. Apart from that, the entire industry is quite fragmented. There is a lot of fragmentation. Means small scale industries are quite many of honey that is there. In fact, even you have Patanjali honey. The Patanjali honey is not its own honey. It also sources from multiple small scale industries and repackages it as Patanjali honey. So what I'm trying to say is there is a lot of fragmentation over here. We don't have big players in honey as such. Dabur is one again which is having its production, but then a lot of others are sourcing their honey from the small players. Okay? Sure. Let's quickly look at the questions. I think we should remember. Question 1. Consider the following statements regarding integrated Sohra circuit project. It is being developed jointly by Ministry of Donor and the government of Meghalaya to promote ecotourism and local livelihood. Second, it is funded under a centrally sponsored scheme with 50% center and 50% state share. See, one thing remember, even if a scheme is central sector scheme, wherein the entire funding is of the government of India, that does not mean that the government of India will not use the state machinery. The government of India will use the state machinery. Okay? It does not have to create its own machinery to implement the project. Be it anything. Be it anything. Let's say, be it if the central government is, let's say, giving some cheap loans, right, to the farmers. So it will not start creating, giving loans only through their branches, only through SBI branches or public sector bank branches. Of course not. It will use the private sector also to disseminate the money to the people, right? So the machinery gets used of the state government, right? Because it is a lower level of government, more connect. In fact, the state government will use the machinery of the local government also. Okay? So do not get confused thinking that it's a centrally sponsored, central sector scheme. So why will state government be involved? State government is involved. Second is centrally sponsored? Absolutely not. Even if you did not know it, it will never be 50-50 for a northeastern state. Okay? Sure. So only A. Next, with reference to RBI, foreign liabilities and assets census 24-25, USA and Singapore together account for over 1/3 of FDI. Yes. Share of outward direct investment grew at a faster pace. Yes? Yes, it did. Okay? 17.9%. Next, regarding the total number of countries officially recognized worldwide, consider the following statement. United Nations currently recognizes 193 member states and 2 observer states. Yes, that is correct. Number of countries in the world, including partially recognized states, is generally, no, it is not that what it is considered. Okay? Number of countries that we consider to be is not 270. They in the report they have mentioned that as countries, but they are not countries. They are small regions. They are neither. They consist of countries which are neither totally recognized nor partially recognized. These are captured territories also, which are governed by other nations. So 217 is not the official number. Okay, next, National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. Central sector scheme implemented by the National Bee Board under the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. See, it is a central sector scheme. The entire money is given by the central government under Pradhan Mantri Divine, no, not under Pradhan Mantri Divine Project, sorry. This is honeybee. So there also 100%, here also 100% money is given by the central government only. This National Bee Board is there. It is a central government's organization. Okay? And it is completely under the central government's organization. Second, India ranks as the world's largest exporter of honey. No, many reports claim that it is second. Okay? Last, National Bee Board, consider the following. It functions under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. 2, it was established as a statutory body through an act of parliament. 2 is incorrect. It is under the Indian Societies Act. First is correct. Okay? So any questions, any doubts? Nothing? He is ready to go. Chaliye, thank you. Yes?
Old pension scheme and new pension scheme. In the old pension scheme, there was, this facility was available that the last drawn salary, 50% of the last drawn salary would be considered as pension.
Correct, correct.
Is that same continuing in the NPS also, right? Is it still continuing and then money would be put into market, or that consideration will not?
No, that consideration will not be there because it will be dependent upon the market forces.
But then what will be set as the pension amount?
Acha, see, let me just recapture what you are saying. You are saying that in the old pension scheme, 50% of lost drawn salary. Correct, that is correct.
So that would be basis on which the pension is determined. Let's say 3 lakh was the last salary, 1.5 lakhs would be the pension amount.
No. In this, what will happen? That's what. In new pension scheme, what will happen is the government has a corpus of fund. That will be one consideration. But let's say, I'll give an example. In new pension scheme, it will be dependent on market forces in the sense that the government has a corpus of pension that it has stored for its employees. Now, let's say 100 rupees is that corpus. So, as per the old pension scheme, 100 rupees is that corpus. If there was only one person who was into that scheme, I should get 50 rupees. Forget, not 50 rupees, that logic doesn't work. But that 100 rupees is that corpus. Now, out of that 100 rupees corpus, the government is not investing the entire money. The government has started investing the money. So the government has invested 2, 3, 4%. Now the government wants to increase the percentage of investment. So the government will ultimately lead to more investment. So let's say a point comes wherein government has invested 50% of the pension fund. That means what? That means the total pension that I get, 50% will be based on my last drawn salary. So if my last drawn salary was 100 rupees, so my pension should be 50 rupees. But the only 50% of my pension will be determined on my last drawn salary. So I will get 25 rupees based on my last drawn salary. The remaining 50% will be dependent on the market forces as to what has happened to that money which was invested. Is that clear? This ये समझ में आया? You understood this? ठीक है? So the 50% weightage of my pension will depend on my last drawn salary, and the remaining 50% of the weightage of my pension will be determined on what has happened to that investment. Why 50% weightage? Because 50% money has been invested. ठीक है? Thank you.
Provident fund is different. Pension fund is different. Pension fund is pure revenue expenditure for the government.
ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ
ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೊಡೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನು
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ
ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಯು ಆರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪೇ ಯು ಮನಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್.
ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ತನಕ
ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ KSRTC bus driver.
ಹಾಂ 60 years
driver of KSRTC buses.
60 years ಅಂದರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Those people don't have PFs. They are not paying PFs, but they are protected under the state government because they are state government employees. So they will be given pension by the state